Okay, so you put the you put 2 eggs in every pound?
I just give that's only like a half a pound of hamburger.
Okay.
So half a pound of hamburger, I put 2 eggs in.
Yeah, what spices did you put in the hamburger?
Now, I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
I use garlic powder.
Yeah.
And I usually a teaspoon, or maybe a little teaspoon and a half. About a teaspoon and a half of parsley. And then salt and pepper to you think might be your taste.
Okay.
You just shake it in there, salt and pepper.
All right.
And then you mix everything up real good. Make sure you get those eggs all in there. They all have to be all covered. You don't want any egg showing.
Right.
Then you add, the last thing you do, you add your breadcrumbs. Any kind of breadcrumbs. Usually I get the Italian style.
Yeah, I do too.
And then you just dump in there as much as your hands, in other words, you don't want it to stick to your hand.
Right.
So you try to just, get it in there, it doesn't matter how much you want to put in there.
Right.
The more breadcrumbs you put in, usually they come out nicer. They come out a little softer.
Okay.
And you mix those eggs really, really good.
Yeah.
And then you just put the breadcrumbs as much as you think you're going to need.
Right.
So that it's not sticking to your hand.
Right.
And then you roll your meatballs. You put the oil. I usually use olive oil. And then you put it right in the pan. And I cook them on both sides so they're brown, but not burnt brown. Okay. And then I put them right in the sauce and finish. That's how I make my sauce.
Okay.
And then now I got one sausage I'm going to put in the sauce also.
All right.
Italian sausage. And I cut that up and put that in there too. It gives it more flavor.
Okay.
And that's it. It's simple.
Okay.
And then you just roll the meatballs
so
after you
parsley, garlic powder, and breadcrumbs.
Salt and pepper.
Yep, salt and pepper.
Yep, and that's all the usually seasoning I use. Salt and pepper, garlic powder, and then of course the 2 eggs. You've got to get half a pound, 2 eggs.
Okay.
And it usually is more than enough for 2, 3 people. Well,
right.
4 people actually.
Okay.
And then you just throw in. I got to make sure this is all mixed up real good. And then you throw in your breadcrumbs, and you can see how it absorbs. And I usually use a lot of breadcrumbs because they do come softer with the breadcrumbs. But you have to mix this really well. What I do in the beginning, I do it with a fork.
Right.
And then when I get everything pretty well mixed, I do it with my hands.
Right. And you can see.
They're nice and clean.
Yeah, of course.
And then you roll them and just put them in there.
And you brown them up and then you plop them in the sauce.
In the olive oil. I like the olive oil. Some people use with olive oil. It's up to your preference. The olive oil gives the sauce a little more taste to it, Now,
when you make your sauce, do you put any olive oil in the sauce too?
No, what I do is, whatever I have in the meatballs, I throw all that in the sauce.
Okay.
In other words, whatever I have in that pan,
right,
then I throw that everything together.
Okay.
And that gives another flavor. And that's it. I just roll them.
Okay.
Round. I just put them like this and squeeze them together a little bit so they stay together. Squeeze them together and go round until you get them round. And whatever size you want, you can make. Sometimes I make enough for chicken soup. I'll make little ones.
Little matzo balls type thing.
Yeah, little ones. And then I freeze them. And then when I make a chicken soup, I can throw those in my chicken soup. Yeah.
Good.
That's all it is.
Parsley, garlic powder, breadcrumbs, 2 eggs.
Yep. And a half a pound of meat. Half a pound of hamburger.
Okay.
Now, some people use veal and everything like that, but I don't.
Yeah.
I just keep it with the hamburger.
I know Grandma Diorio used to do that, right?
Yeah, she used to put the veal in, but veal is very expensive today.
Yeah.
Very, very expensive. So I don't. So I make sure there's enough in there. I can usually tell.
Yeah, if it sticks to your hands or not.
And if it sticks to my hands, then I keep going. So I usually put, 2 good helpings of breadcrumbs. And I mix it as much as I can with the fork.
Right.
And then I do it with my hands. I wash my hands and then I just go for it. And then that's what I do. I put them right in there. I get the oil fairly hot, not too hot, because you don't want to burn them.
Right.
So in fact, I'm going to shut that down a little bit. And I make sure that the oil is all over the pan. And
yeah, because it'll stick if you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, you can see what you can turn them over, stand there and watch them. Turn them over, get done both sides, and then I throw everything right in, oil everything right in there. Then I simmer this sometimes for about 2 hours. You don't have to simmer it that long, but I do.
Right.
So I put on my small and let that simmer for 2 or 3 hours. And then you can shut it off if you want, but I usually keep it on low. And that's it.
Beautiful.
Okay, I feel while I had
Yeah, yeah, perfect.
You know, and I'll show you like when I'll make one meatball for you. But I gotta mix this all up good. You want to make sure all
the breadcrumbs are in with.
All the breadcrumbs
Gotcha.
are right in there because you don't want to taste breadcrumbs. If you know.
Sure.
Make sure it's all, you get all that. You can see it sometimes. It stays on the hamburger. But you get that all mixed in there until you get it really good mixed.
Gotcha.
And you can see, like I say, as long as when I pick this up, and this stuff is not going to stick too much on my hand. A little bit. It will stick a little bit.
Yeah.
But then I get it all. Then I mix it good with my hands. Oh, I just washed my hands, so I knew I was going to do this.
Yeah.
So I mix it as best I can. Then take a little bit off. Then I go for it. And I just press it all real good. Make sure it's all in there good. Then you get it all in there good. Once more, make sure it's, then you take it, make sure you get all the sides and everything. And that's that. And then I bring it over here.
And then you fry it up.
And I just...
You kind of brown the whole thing in there.
I just take a bit of size you want. Some like them small, some like them big.
Right.
So, I just squeeze them together. I make them a little bit smaller. I make some small ones and I make some big ones. Just depending on what...
And then you just get them brown and you put them in the...
And then you put them right in there and you cook everything together. Like I said, I add sausage because Dad likes the sausage and it gives it a little more flavor.
Yeah.
You just make sure, whatever size you want. He likes them a little bit big, so I make a few big ones.
Okay. Yeah, I know how to fry them up. That's no problem.
Nothing.
You just kind of get them brown and then you put them in the sauce.
That's all you do. You slap them over with a big spoon or whatever you got.
Yeah.
You got those big forks. They're good too.
Good.
But make sure you squash them in good because you don't want them to cook so they stay together.
Yeah, You don't want them to break apart.
No.
Okay.
And that's that.
Beautiful.
So now you got the details.
Good. All right, and then I'm going to go back out and help Dad rake. All right.
All right.
Thanks, Mom. Okay, we ready?